This podcast is brought to you by Hoare Chartered Accountants. Hoare Chartered Accountants are based in Galway City and are a leading provider of audit, accountancy and taxation services. For more information, visit hoarecharteredaccountants.ie. This episode is sponsored by DroneWorks Ireland, your go-to place when it comes to buying a drone, repairing a drone, and also when you need professionals to carry out any aerial work you may need. Check out their website at www.droneworksireland.ie. You're welcome along to the Maroon and White pod. I'm delighted to be joined by Skehana Mountbellew Moylough manager Dessie O'Brien to take a look back at the action in round two of the senior and Premier Intermediate Hurling Championships, as the groups in both championships now really begin to take shape, and as well action in the Premier Junior Hurling Championship at the weekend. But first off, Dessie, obviously you're with Skehana Mountbellew Moylough again this year. You've sealed your place into the quarter-final with, it's fair to say, two tough games to start with. I don't think to get much harder than Moylough and Kilkenarren. But you must really be pleased, I suppose, with the development of this team to go and beat, I suppose, two teams that have played senior hurling over the last few years.
Well, sure, I suppose, Paul, I suppose when we looked at the group 2 or 3 months ago, we said, oh my God, we probably had 3 senior teams in it, if you want to be honest about it. And like one, Kilkenarren just down from senior A, which is, they were there for 3 or 4 years anyway. And we dug deep. These guys, I think I said it to you last year, these guys, there's something special in them, they don't seem to want to die. They don't seem to want to give up on a game. They train hard. They work hard at training. When we're training, we're training. Some of them play football with Montbellew and Minlan. We have to balance that ourselves, but that's up to the 2 managers to do that, or the 3 managers to do that, and we work well. Yeah, look, it's a great club down there, to be honest. It's a great club, and they're progression all the time,
Has it particularly helped? I know over the last few years we've seen Skehana Mountbellew at underage level really, I suppose, get up at the high level grades, and they're really competing at A now and everything. That's obviously massive as you're beginning to bring younger players through, that they're being exposed to that level of hurling that maybe traditionally this area wasn't always exposed to.
Yeah, but I think playing the higher level you play probably at underage is it's the better you're going to go, Paul. Like I think they're in A and under 14, if I'm right, maybe A1, under 16A. They're in a minor league A final this year, competing in the A championship in minor, and they're in the under 20A. So like anytime you have all your teams competing in A, of course it's going to feed your senior team. Let that be a Premier Intermediate team or a senior team. It's going to feed it all the way. And the guys that are playing in that are probably playing at that level. So when you get to your senior or Premier Intermediate team, you're nearly ready for battle,
Are you surprised by how quickly they've adapted, or did you know there was something in this project that, as you entered in?
I am surprised how well they've adapted, yeah. They're believing in myself and Colin Fitzgerald and my management team. It's not just myself, it's a full management team, and that's the way it is with us. We do everything together. We made a plan 2 years ago. We kind of said we'd progress this club. If we didn't, I'd class it as a failure for myself. The guys are going to go on, whether I'm in charge or whoever's in charge in the next couple of years. There will be a senior club. I have no doubt in that. There will be a senior club, but their progression is very steady. It's the way we want it,
You mentioned Colin Fitzgerald there, obviously Davy Fitzgerald's son. How's it been working with him? He's obviously with Crusheen, I believe, down in Clare as well, this year. But how's it been working with him?
Yeah, for sure. When he's with us, he's with us. That's it. Crusheen doesn't come into it, or anyone else doesn't come into it. Look, he's a great trainer. He's been around the block. He knows his stuff. He's a great tactician. We work well together. As I said, the whole management team, the whole backroom team, all work well together. It's like anything else. It's like any job. If everyone pulls their weight and everyone does what they're supposed to do, well then, the job gets easier.
Just from looking at it and from the outset, Oisín Lohan's obviously been part of a Galway senior panel. Tiernan Lohan's been on under 20s. Michael Burke's been on the under 20s. Imagine like that's going to grow and grow, but like having, I suppose, county representation for a club that hasn't always had it, that's huge too, isn't it?
It is, yeah, it's huge. Look, when they come back training, it's what they bring back to the group. It's what they bring back to us as a management team, really, because they're driving us then, and we have to get up our standards to what they're used to. But yeah, but it's the same in every club, isn't it? When your county guys come back, when Ronan came back to Mulla, he changed the whole lot. Like, it's like anything else, I suppose. When your top guys come back, well, that's when things kick off.
Nice position to be in now. Top spot, sealed into a quarter final. Uh, you're obviously not as stressed maybe as you look at some of the other groups where they don't know are they going into relegation or are they going into the knockouts. There's obviously a bit of edginess gone here, but I guess probably important from your own perspective. You probably just want to keep this momentum going and not, I suppose, have any setback even in your final game heading to a quarter final.
Yeah, and like trying to balance under 20 hurling as well because they're playing Loughrea tomorrow night in the last group game in under 20. So you're trying to balance that, and it gives guys a chance that's carrying a niggle or an injury or a strain. The 4 weeks will help us there. Like, obviously we'll probably have a challenge match somewhere along the line there as well, and we'll see how it goes. We haven't really met as a management team yet now to go through the next couple of weeks, but that'll be done probably Thursday night now, and everything will be laid in the line, and we go from there. We still have Baha to play. That's number one. We still have to finish the group. The goal was to top the group at the beginning of the year. That goal has been achieved now, but wouldn't it be nice to come out with 3 wins and they have their own battle to fight now down the line. So they'll want to get everything right too. So yeah, it's still there to be played for.
If we look at the game, so in the Senior Hurling Championship, talking about Loughrea and Moycullen Friday evening, Loughrea maybe getting out of jail in one sense when you consider Moycullen, I suppose, getting the square ball disallowed. It's still so hard when you watch back the footage of this and even the square ball to, I suppose, really spot was it a square ball? Did Conor Quinlan get the call right? Like, there's always, I suppose, close calls like these in games. And from Loughrea's perspective, obviously, they've got out of jail in one sense. Mike Cullen probably did enough to even get a draw or get 2 points at the weekend. Like, you can really understand from Mike Cullen's perspective the frustration probably because like Dessie, if they did get over the line against Loughrea on Friday night, like it would have been a massive
Huge.
upset in the championship.
Yeah, look, I was there the year they actually bet me when I was with manager of Climber when they went up senior, Mike Cullen, and no more than a lot of clubs, Mike Cullen are fighting to keep hurling alive out there. And I didn't see the goal. I'm going to be honest with you, or the square ball, whatever you want to call it. We were actually hurling at the exact same time in Ballinasloe as they were hurling in Pierce Stadium on Friday evening. Um, look at to say that Conor Quinlan or any official, they haven't got an easy job either. And look at the call was made. You know, I suppose me kind of put on my Loughrea hat here. If it was the right call, well, it came in Loughrea's favour. I know Mike Cullen probably feel aggrieved with it, but I suppose the way you'd look at that is that Mike Cullen are. Joe, would you like to meet Mike Cullen now in the last four of the championship? Would you?
Yeah,
They're a fighting club. They're experienced team. They're well able for battle, and they'll be ready for the next two matches or maybe one match.
particularly when they lost Phil McDonough in the first half, to still stay going and rallying.
Yeah,
Because I suppose if you do compare two squads, like obviously Loughrea probably, I think it's fair to say, have a lot more strength and depth at their disposal than Mike Holland do have. But like even James Bradley's frees, unbelievable really. He finished with 11 points for them in the end. Obviously, Niall Mannion really unlucky to get done for that square ball that Conor Quinlan
yeah,
did judge as a
yeah,
square ball there. But even like Ian Noon chipping in, Niall Mannion chipping in as well with scores there at the weekend. Like Tony lose out by three, and I suppose Fio McDonough's like a player who's won a Fitzgibbon Cup for with Mary I in the past, like a massive loss to them, but they still kept fighting and going and could have got something from this.
Yeah, but as I said, like I know they have a game left in the group. That's going to set them up nicely for the next round that they have. Unfortunately, it's a relegation round. But like they'll be ready for that now. These guys won't lie down and die. Um, we've played Moycullen over the years in different challenge matches and championships, and they're doing something out there that a lot of clubs would love to have. Like they have a serious attitude. The serious attitude. And I know, as I go back to it, we all give out about referees and officials every now and again, and I'd be probably one of them, one of the worst of them. But at the end of the day, they have a job to do, and it's not easy. It's not easy. The game of hurling has gone so fast now, and it's gone so skillful, and you know, split seconds decisions have to be made, and you know, Conor Quinlan or his officials don't have a camera to make that, so, or any other Conor Quinlan or any other official. So look at, um, I wouldn't be blaming anyone. It's one of these things. Decisions go against you. Decisions do go against you, and unfortunately, sometimes they cost you your 2 points in the group. That's the worst of it. But
Saying
my
that with
cousin,
Lock,
my cousin were there. You know.
yeah. In saying that with Loughrea, I think it's fair to say Tommy, Gavin, and Shane, and everyone with this Loughrea management team, they have different challenges this year compared to previous years. You look, Kieran Hanrahan's still out injured at the minute. Brian Keary gets injured in the warm up. Darren Shaughnessy scored 1-2, goes off injured. Like there's a lot of challenges this year for them now, and I think they know themselves they've a lot of improving to do if they want to get back and win their third county title in a row. But the most important thing for them really is to probably start getting bodies right, and unfortunately just not having much luck with injuries at the minute.
Yeah, but sure, I'd say no matter who you'd have on this podcast, they'll tell you that Hensy is one of the best cornerbacks in Galway.
Mm.
I'm not saying he's the best, but he's one of the best cornerbacks in Galway. And to lose a man of his stature is huge to any club, or definitely to Loughrea. Yeah, you can say that they have lots of players on the bench, but a lot of these players on the bench have to be tried and tested yet, and they have to earn their place to come on. And you know, it's up to the guys to pick the right lads for the right matches, and that's their decision. And as management, any manager will tell you, or any trainer will tell you, sometimes it doesn't always go the way you want it to go when you play a young fella that you think is flying it. He mightn't be flying it. So they have to earn their stripes, anyone in any club, I suppose.
Suppose it probably still is testament that they're like even with those injuries, they're able to bring in Gavin Maher, who really settled in impressively to cornerback. Jack Shaughnessy as well. Like to be able to bring in these players again, I suppose, is just showing the quality. Your own son, Shane at the weekend chipping in with a key score there, even Shane Morgan as well. I suppose when Mike Cullen did get that goal, they were still able to hit those one or two scores and show their experience in key stages.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Look, they have a panel. They have a panel. There's no doubting that. But as St. Thomas's or any of the rest of them will tell you, this Galway Championship, would you pick a winner over the last 10 or 12 that's left in it? I don't think so. Would I pick a winner? I wouldn't even like to pick the finalists. Now, I'm a winner. So, from here on in now, it starts.
Yeah.
There's some matches this weekend or next in 2 weeks' time. Oh my God! There's going to be some big casualties. There's going to be teams that are playing well could be gone out of the championship. Um, that's Galway hurling for you, isn't it? It's so competitive. You need a panel.
With Loughrea, do you think this is going to be probably one of the most hard-fought championships for them, I suppose, to get everything right and get back to where they want to get there? Because obviously know from that Mike Cullen game that they're going to have to go up a few levels.
Oh, without a doubt, without a doubt. But you're after mentioning the management team there. Um, they'll have to get it right now for the next. What have they have Gart left? I think, isn't it? See who comes second, third. Then they have 2 weeks again. So you're probably looking at 4 weeks to the preliminary quarter final. There's no second chances after that. you know, the pressure's on the management team now, if you want to put it that way, to make sure that they have the strongest 15 out and make sure that everyone is fit and ready, you know, and they will. They will. I have no doubt they will, you know. Um, Last year they lost to Crowell and they rebounded, and we all know what happened last year, you know.
Yeah, the one area it seems from the Larkins games and Moycullen games is freeze is an area where they've probably the accuracies cost them at times. They racked up something like 10 wides in the first half. Obviously missed a few frees in the Larkins games, missed frees the last day, and then got some frees from range. But it's an area really they'll, I suppose, be looking to improve. Even Tommy Kelly, when he was talking to Galway FM, he said we really probably need to look at respecting, I suppose, the scoreboard and the scoring opportunities more there. So
Yeah,
that's definitely, I suppose, the biggest area where they'll really look to zone in on now over the next few weeks.
yeah, sure. With all these new rules and everything, I suppose frees are now the most as a fierce important part of any game, senior or any game. Like, you know, it's um a free, like the free counts in a lot of games are high. Like the game has gone so fast now and it's gone so furious. People are so fit. You know, there's frees now for, look at it, again, go back to officials. It's hard for them. They have a split second to make them calls, and it's up to the team to be ready to take the frees when they get them, you know?
Yeah, just looking at the scores from that game, Ian Noon got a point, James Bradley 11 points, 6 frees, 265s, Niall Mannion a point, Mark Gillespie a point, and Colin Cunningham a goal. Then for Loughrea, Shane Morgan with 2 points, 2 frees, Joe Mooney with a point, Ian Hanrahan with a point, Cayman Killeen with a point, Tiernan Killeen with 2 points, Jamie Ryan with 4 points, 2 outstanding sideline cuts over the bar from him, Jack Shaughnessy with a point. Darren Shaughnessy with 1-2, Martin McManus with a point, Anthony Burns with a point, and Shane O'Brien with a point. Just before we move on to the Larkins game, for Loughrea as well, Dessie, huge boost for them to see Anthony Burns back on the pitch this weekend.
Yeah, sure. Burnsy, I think Burnsy was in America there for a couple of months, and I think he picked up an injury abroad there. There's one thing you won't get out of the Loughrea camp, including when my own lad is on it, Shane, is you won't get any information of what's going on in there, you know. That's one thing you won't get. And I think he picked up an injury abroad in America. Yeah, it's great to see Burnsy back. Look at Burnsy's one of these guys that just pulled the team along, you know, and he's just a super athlete. I had Burnsy, believe it or not, at under 12 and under 10, 14, all the way up along when I was involved with the underage in there. And he's just a special guy, you know. But then, like, look at there's a lot of other guys back in the fray now. So look at they'll move on. They'll be fine. You know, they have 4 weeks now to get ready for a preliminary quarter final. And if you were one of the teams in the preliminary quarter final, probably you wouldn't want to see Loughrea coming at you. You know, you probably wouldn't.
Just finally with Moycullen, obviously can take a huge amount of confidence, but in one sense, probably need to at this stage now forget about the square ball and I suppose how close they came and move on because what's going to be coming in, obviously they can use this Larkson's game as great preparation going into a relegation semi-final, but that's probably just the focus now. You need to sort of put this game behind you now, really, in one sense, don't you?
Yeah, I think they'll probably have to be going into the next round now in the best frame of mind possible. Like, and I don't think they have a chance really to have, because no more than ourselves, they play football, and I don't know how many footballers are actually involved with the Moycullen senior team at the moment. But
It's only really one at the minute from
yeah, but
McDonough, really.
it kind of takes from it, you know, Paul. They'll have to balance that, so they'll be using the Tommy's game as a springboard, really. And you wouldn't know what way the draw goes in, whoever they get in the next round. Like, there's not many, there's not many teams that want Moycullen now in October in a in a in a in a relegation battle, you know.
Yeah, I suppose the key there is, I suppose, Phil McDonough's injury could be huge there in one sense to get him back on the pitch. But look at the other game, Tommy Larkins 127, Gort 119. Um, Tommy Larkins would have to be delighted here, I must say. Being in Kilbegan on Sunday, it was unbelievable. Cars everywhere. Tommy Larkins and Gore packed into the venue. Like it is really one of the special venues, isn't it, in Galway Club Ireland, Dizzy?
Well, isn't it great to see Kilbeaconty and even Clymer had Portumla and Airport, another
Yeah.
local battle. Isn't it great to see these pitches? And if you think back, well, you mightn't remember, but I remember when you go to say Killimor and there was huge senior games in it. Kilbacon, the same way, but the club in Kilbacon, like, my God, like what facilities they're after putting there, like, and the work of that committee, like, it has to be admired. Like, it's one of the finest pitches in Galway, a great stand, good car parking. I know there's car parking, but sure you can go to Loughrea or Athenry, there's carnage of car parking. So look at, um, yeah, outstanding. Like, and especially then halfway between the two of them, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's great to see these pitches. It's great to see the local club getting the big games. Yeah,
On Larkins, they'd really have to be delighted, won't they? Two from two straight into a quarter final because they might have said an opening, but there was a certain amount of pressure going into a Gort game. It was a free shot for Gort. They had nothing to lose. No one was really giving them a chance. A lot of people expected Larkins, but from beating Loughrea and beating the county champions, there was pressure and expectation on Larkins, and they followed it up and they're into the last eight.
yeah, but this Larkins team now, they're there. They seem to be on the crest now, don't they? Um, like we seen them last year. We shouldn't be surprised. We shouldn't be surprised because for the last 2 or 3 years now they've been on the fence, and I suppose with Jason not playing with Galway this year, and then you have Keane Daniels there who has been in with Galway, and you're talking about the experience of county guys coming back into your club setup. Should, like, there lies it, and Murphy coming back in, like, um these guys are good enough. I'd say at the beginning of the year, you'd look, obviously my heart to be with the Loughrea lads winning a county title, but wouldn't it be so nice to see these guys going all the way to a county final, like, because I've seen these guys since they were under 10, and no more than any rural club, when they put the shoulders of the wheel, like, they really push it, and there's nothing stopping them this year. They're a committed bunch. They have Kelly. I think Johnny's in there with them.
Yeah.
They have a great backroom team. They have a great club. They have great facilities up there. Nothing to stop them going all the way. Nothing.
Yeah, like even looking at it, they were 13-12 down at halftime, Gort ahead by a point. But one of the most impressive things was Aidan Hellebert comes out and gets a free and puts them 14-12 out. But then I suppose it's the scores. Jason gets two frees, then he gets one from play, another free. Kevin McHugo as well. He chips in with a point, and they move 117 to 14 ahead. Ben Shield getting a goal as well, set up by Keane Daniels in that period. So the way they were able to, I suppose, just raise 117 to 14 ahead. Richie Cummins gets a goal back, makes it 117 to 114, but it's really the way they go and they finish the game and they win out 127 to 119, winners in the end. Like, really impressive response there in the second half, particularly when everything wasn't going right for them in the first half.
Yeah, but I'm sure Gart are probably kind of kicking themselves too that they didn't see out that they were going well there. As you said, I think they were 4 points up at one stage, were they?
Or
And
two up, 14-12, yeah.
two up at one stage, and like, in fairness, Gart have put in a lot of work this year too. Like, the boys are back in the backroom team. They've gone back to the local guys to pull them through, and another club, another club that are trying hard, and look at, they're in the playoffs now as well. So you never know where that's going to take them. And the likes of the Tommy's game, and they have Loughrea left. That they won't fear Loughrea now. They won't fear going into the play Loughrea, Gart. And you have to admire, yeah, that's a good group now. You have three good teams in that group now.
Yeah,
Fighting it out for
for
three places.
For Larkins, Ian Murphy with a point for Murphy, a free. Kevin McHugo with two. Darren Duggan with a point. Ronan Murphy with a point. Keane Daniels with a point. Ben Shield with 1-1. Jason Flynn with 10 points. Conor Gardner as well with 4 points. Adrian Moran with three. Conor Slattery with three. So a really impressive spread of
Yeah,
scores. But like, even looking at Jason and Keane Daniels and Ronan Murphy, they're the player that gets to stand out. But even someone like Conor Gardner, he's such a
yeah,
an aerial threat and a ball winner for them in that half forward line.
Yeah, I'm sure Connor be about 39, 30 now, I presume. Like, sure, he's been hanging around there. Like, Connor was one of the best club hurlers in Galway. Like, he will do anything for that club. Like, there's nothing he won't do for Tommy Larkins. Like, and he's been doing that since he was 14 years of age. And anyone that know him growing up, like, he broke our hearts at underage playing when we were playing with Loughrea, and that, like, they were always able for us. They were always there. Um, but as I said, when Tommy's put their mind to it, they can do whatever they want. Whatever they want now. They have a good management team. They have a great setup. I said their
The big
scores are
thing is
not
for
just
them
coming
now,
from
though, isn't it?
Jason.
Isn't it the
Uh,
next step to get like quarterfinals? Obviously, it's been a bit of a mental block for them over the last number of years. They haven't been able to get over that stage. As happy as they'll be, they're probably where they want to be now, but they'll obviously want to go one or two steps further now and really push on.
of course, will you? Of course, will. Like, I want any team in the last four or last eight want to push on now, but yeah, I still think Tommy's, if they get over the quarter final and get that out of their head, no more than Moycullen with the penalty now, they have to forget about that. And Tommy's have to forget about the last two or three quarterfinals. They just have to think of go watch the other preliminary quarterfinals, try and sort out who they have, do a plan for them, which they will, because Johnny Kelly will have that done, and aim for that and just get everything else out of their head. Get it last year, get every other year. Was it Thomas last year that beat them? Do you
Thomas
know?
is it.
Yeah. So just get all that out of their head and just 160, 70 minutes and go for it. And there'll be in a county semi final. Anything can happen then.
Yeah, as well scores for Gort the weekend. Nathan Gill with a point, Paddy Commons with 3 points, one coming from the sideline. Ian Hellebert with nine, Craig Lally with two, Dylan Murphy with two, Richie Cummins with 1-1, and Larkin Walsh as well with a point there. Interestingly, Craig Lally playing a sweeper at the weekend as that extra man back for Gort. But the one thing I'll say about Gort is they're they're really going to give the team a challenge, particularly when they have a free taker like Aidan Hellebert.
Yeah, yeah.
As these games progress, and I think we're all probably dreading it in one sense for the game. The games are going to slow down a bit. Scores are going to become less and less over the next few weeks as we enter into this winter hurling. And Aidan Helibert's free taking and his accuracy from it gives Gort a real chance of causing an upset as they head into the knockout stages.
Yeah, the game will probably slow down, but like, do you know what we forget about? And it's one thing that a lot of us forget about. The pitches are so good now, Paul,
Mm,
that there won't be as slow as say 10 years ago when pitches got wet and the sliotar was wet. Sure, every puck out now is a new sliotar, like you know what I mean. And every pitch is nearly top quality at the moment, like and you know there's only to get to a county final. There's only 4 or 5 matches left, so
yeah.
you know if you get a spell of weather, the pitches mightn't change that much. Pitches mightn't change that much at all. I
Uh,
think it's
Yeah, just the way that is for people who aren't wearing Group 1 with Jerry here. Tommy Larkin straight into the quarterfinal. Gorton Loughrea play in a game to decide who comes second and third. And Mike Cullen are into the relegation semi-final in that one. Looking at Group 2 then, Clarenbridge getting over the line 219 to 17 points against Captagal at the weekend. Desi, I was at this one, you were at this one too, you were saying.
yeah.
You probably needed another set eyes at this one to view everything that was going on off the ball, particularly in the first half. But it was great the intensity we did have in that first half in that game.
Look at it. You were always going to have that, really, weren't you? I know. Like there wasn't a dirty belt drawn. There was a
No,
lot of pulling and dragging, and there was no belt drawn. There was no like I didn't see anyone bleeding, or I didn't see anyone coming off with a head injury or a bad injury. I seen none of that. What I seen was two teams like Capitagal, like like they were fighting for their lives. Like they wanted this win. Like they had a they had a bad day out the first day against Mellows. They really, really wanted that win, and you could see that they were going at it. And they had to like look at the team they're playing. Like Bridge, everyone's favourite for the last 3 years to win county titles, and you know when you look at what's going on, like and all the players they have. Cappy had to go at it. They had to go at it. And in fairness to the Cappy guys, and you were there, Paul, yourself, for the first 35, 40 minutes, I think at 42 minutes gone in the game, I think Cappy were only 2 points down, you know?
Yeah.
So,
They were actually only 2 points down on 50 minutes,
what
15-13.
a, yeah, yeah. So, there wasn't that much in it. I know the scoreline doesn't show that, like, but in fairness to the Cappy lads, they didn't give up on the fight.
It's probably particularly too if you look at it in one sense, as you say there, the scoreline probably does flatter Cambridge in one sense. Like this was a real battle up until those last 10 minutes. But the way they were
Yeah,
able to take the two goals from Dylan Dunn, it was something now that did stand out about him. Even the first goal, you look at Aaron, you look at Sean Kilduff involved in the build-up, ball over to Dylan Dunn. You look at the second goal, Shane Ryan, long ball into Keane Salmon, offloaded Dylan Dunn, goal. Like
yeah.
those plays for those couple of goals, it was really superb attacking play from Cambridge at the weekend.
Yeah, but their work rate, Paul, I know you're talking about the goals, like, but I seen Aaron Nyland getting the ball on the 21-yard line, his own 21-yard line, and coming up the field. And I know the Bridge got a score out of it, but like he was playing full forward and centre forward most of the day. And here he was, what's he, 19 years of age, and he battling down the back of the field to drive on the bridge, like, because like with 50 minutes to go, like that game was in the balance, like, and unlucky Cappy got two bad injuries, I think, in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I wish them lads the best recovery as well. Like, it's not like nice to see anyone going off, and I think was it Daly that went off for Bridge with an ankle injury as well.
Michael Daly
Uh,
only after coming on,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and he only has coming on, like, and you don't like to see that, like, but they were only injuries, knee injuries and ankle injuries or whatever, like they weren't from physical play. But like, look at this Bridge team. Like, you know, I don't know how
Particularly
you start.
the role of Dylan Dunn and Shane Ryan, I thought, it
Yeah,
probably goes underrated in one sense. The two of them all,
it
they
does,
were
yeah.
up and down. They were getting on so much ball. Like they've really striked a nice balance with those two players, with the role of both of them as the wing forward. It's your modern day wing forward, but the amount of
Oh yeah,
work they're getting through, and even Christie and TJ Brennan too, like they both got two long range points, or Christie got two, TJ finished with
yeah,
four
he got one.
long.
Yeah,
But like it was like that was impressive play to figure it out because Cappy were obviously had no choice but to bring a lot of bodies behind the ball because you're not going to go man to man with a Cambridge forward line like that. But the ability to figure things out as this game went on stood out.
yeah. Well, look at that. I'd say their halftime tactic talk was a serious one, because I don't think they had much. That they weren't able to break down Cappy in the first 35 minutes. Um, Cappy went
Yeah,
toe
at
to toe with
times
them
now
now.
they did probably take too much out of the ball as well.
They did, yeah. But yeah, I have to say, in fairness to the Cappy guys, they had their homework done. Stephen and Pádraig there, they had their homework done for 35, as you said, 50 minutes level or 2 points down. Like, how do you say put no fires when you're watching Evan Nyland and Arden Nyland jumps up, or Daly comes out, or TJ Brennan comes with 4 points? How do you mark all these guys? Like, there isn't many teams in the county that has that kind of pedigree in their panel, that, like, as managers, you'll always trying to stop certain players, but when you have to try and stop 13, maybe 15, including their
Yeah.
goalie, like I thought Cannon was superb in goals, to be honest. I thought his puck outs, his reading of the game was superb, so yeah, I think they have them everywhere.
Cappy is back to the drawing board, try and get a result out of the Crofwell game. Now, they know if Mellows beat Clarenbridge, that if they beat Crowell, it will be enough to get into the knockouts, but it gets a bit complicated. If Clarenbridge beat Mellows and Cappy beat Crowell, it then goes into a mini league between the three teams, which would be Captagal, Crowell, and Mellows, excluding the Clarenbridge game, and then it's a mini league between the games involved with those three teams there. But they know if it's a draw or a loss for Cappy, they will be going into the relegation playoffs.
Yeah,
So if first and foremost, they have to focus in here and try and get a result in the group because, particularly, I think they didn't win a game last year in the group. They haven't won a game in the group since 2024. So that's a stat they'll obviously want to put to bed.
Yeah, I suppose the first thing they have to do is try and get the two guys that went off injured back. Like, Ja
Mm.
wasn't playing out the last day either, Ja Mannion.
Yeah,
Like,
big
now,
loss.
when you're losing the likes of Ja Mannion any day of the week,
Yeah.
that's a huge loss. Do you
Yeah,
know?
I thought
Um,
Dan Evan was just special mention to him. I thought he was exceptional for them
oh,
at
he
the
was, yeah.
weekend.
He was, yeah. He was probably their standout player, really, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But, like, um, yeah, they're going to have to try and get Ja back. And hopefully the two guys that went off injured come back, Garvey and Claffey. Um, but, like, look at their backs out to the wall now. There's no excuses. There's no second chances. They just have to throw the kitchen sink at Crowell. But then aren't Crowell the same position?
But
Crowell
Crowell
have to
know
go
if
for
they
this as
get
well.
if Crowell know if they get a win, that'll be enough to secure
Yeah,
second
yeah,
place in the group.
yeah. But they still have to go for that win. You
Yeah.
know, um, like Crowell coming from last year, they were the only team to beat Loughrea if they went on to win the county final. Like Crowell don't want to be in this position either. And again, like they have they have serious young talent. They have serious talent there, and Monaghan's driving them on. Like that's going to be some game though. It's going to be some
Yeah.
game, and the officials. You're talking about officials earlier on. Like the officials in that game. This is going to be the one, like, isn't it? This is really a one that's going to stand out that day. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the big improvement the Cappy would probably be looking at is to get more scores from play. 10 out of 17 of their scores came from place balls. Um, 7 frees from Liam Collins. He finished with 8 points. Dan Evans 6 points, 3 frees. Oran and Nusheen Finn with a point each as well at the weekend, and Joseph Smith as well with a point. They'll have James Egan back as well, who was suspended for the first 2 games. From Clarenbridge point of view, Sean Kilduff came off the bench, scored 2 points. Evan Island 7 points, 7 frees. Mark Kennedy a point. Dylan Dunn 2-1. Shane Ryan a point. Liam Lean a point. Christy Brennan 2 points, and Tia Brennan there with 4 points. Crowell, as you mentioned, got their first win of the campaign against Mellows. Both teams were level 11 times. This game is really dominated by frees, and it's not just, I suppose, on this game alone, but it does feel certain games in the Galway Senior Hurling Championship and Premier Intermediate, you would like to see them flow a bit more and I suppose see refs, I suppose, maybe just apply that common sense a bit more because there is nothing more worse really in hurling when it does turn into nearly a free taking shootout and the physicality isn't let like you would like to see, I suppose. Refs allow that bit more physicality because you could see from even clubs on the line that there is a bit of frustration when that does happen.
Yeah, but like as I said to you earlier on, like I definitely wouldn't like to be a referee now because look at the game has gone so fast. It's gone so technical. It's gone so tactical. Um, a referee now has to be nearly as half as fit or as fit as the players themselves because my God, he's covering some ground. Like, but uh, the free counts, you know, I suppose depends on what way you look at it. If you're with a club and there's frees going against you the whole time, well then you're saying, oh, the referee's against us or the referee is this, that, and the other. But then, like, when you sit down and analyse the game, 80% of the time the referee is probably right. Maybe 90% that there were frees, and we're only watching what we want to see, maybe in our own teams. But how do you let a game go? I don't know. I don't know because I definitely wouldn't like to be a referee these days anyway. But I definitely think he probably needs a lot more support from his two umpires and his linesmen now at the moment. Like, um, just going off the subject there for a minute, I was at the first round of the Camogie Senior Championship this weekend, and I was in Killimordaly, and the referees turned up, and there was no sideline officials. Do you know? So, like, that's not fair on the referees either. They were supposed to be appointed, so why weren't they appointed?
Yeah,
Um, if so look at it's not easy. It's not easy, and we all want to see the game of hurling played the way we like to see it: fast, hard, and fair. We don't want to go in and hear a referee playing the tin whistle. for 60 minutes either, or 70 minutes. Like, you're not paying €15 to go and hear that. But look, they have a job to do. Would I do it? No, I wouldn't. You know, so I suppose maybe these new rules might tighten up a bit of that, but it's just hard. It's hard now because the game has gone so fast, and in fairness to the referees, they're trying their best.
If we look at Crowell and Mellows, as we mentioned, level 11 times at the weekend. Adrian Marcy's accuracy for Lee Mellows at the weekend was something else, finishing with 14 points out of their 118. But I suppose the one thing that won this for Crowell really was they probably had a greater spread of scores at the weekend, racking up 23 points. 17 of their 23 points came from play. Lee
Yeah,
Mellows
yeah.
hit Lee Mellows hit 1-4 from play. Like, I suppose it is contrasting there in one sense, and that's probably what got Crowell over the line, and probably important for them to get over the line and get that first win and get back up and running, because they are county semi-finalists from last year and they obviously want to get back there.
They do, yeah, and no more than the rest of the clubs, like these guys are putting in a lot of work too. And I suppose Crowell last year, after beating Loughrea, went on to a semi-final. Can they go one step further this year? Like, what did you say? They scored one. Was it once?
Scored 23 points. Lee Mallows
Yeah,
with
what did they score
118.
from play? What?
17 out of
Yeah,
their 23 from play.
like, that's impressive. That's very impressive, and there's a wide range of them. Like, it's not just two or three players. Like, it's a
Yeah,
wide
like
range of
you
them.
you
You
look at the
know,
defence, Patrick Monaghan with a point, Alan Callanan with two, Ryan Howley with a point, Kevin Malloy with a point, Tom Monaghan with five, Tiernan Lean with a point, Dara McCartan with a point, Conor Gilligan with a point, Adrian Prendergast with a point, Dara Zimmer with a point, and Kieran Lean with 7-6 from free. So, as you say,
yeah,
they're good spread of scores.
savage spread of scores. Like, where you go to Mellows on the other side, who only scored 1-4. Like probably, I think they're third in the group at the moment. Mellows, like, but scoring 1-4 from play probably won't get
It's
you any
actually only
further
one
than
one three, 1-3 from play.
1-3.
Harren got a free with
Yeah,
that, yeah.
yeah. So, like, they'll be looking at that going into their last game. Have they the bridge left to have?
Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry. Actually,
yeah,
they scored 11 frees it was.
yeah.
So they
Like,
outside of
they're
that
going to,
then it was 1-7 from play, but still you
yeah. You
needs to
need more
be.
than that going into a preliminary quarter final, like, if they make it,
Yeah.
So they'll be looking at that at training this week too and saying, where do we go from here? What do we do to improve this? You know, but again, that group is wide open. You know, um, the bridge are safe, I suppose.
Well,
Yeah,
Bridge technically aren't yet. Mellows could still
yeah,
leapfrog them on that, but it is going to
yeah,
be Mellows, I suppose, in probably one sense is like the game was level on 60 minutes, and Nigel Kelly and Tom Monaghan with points. Um, the insurance points really to get Crockwell over the line, but probably
yeah,
disappointed when they were level on injury time that maybe they didn't get something from it. But um, as things stand, if Cappy don't get that result, it'll be enough for the Mellows too to progress into the preliminary quarterfinals. At the same time, though, Mellows, the position they're in, they'll have to be happy enough. Like, they're not going into the last round winless. They know if Crowell beat Captagal that they'll be through. And particularly
yeah,
David Collins over them. Like, they did only win Senior B last year, so to be going into the knockouts for them be a strong position for them to be in.
yeah. Look, as I said, that group is wide open still. Except I know the bridge technically can be caught, but I don't think there will be. Like, and
Yeah,
who comes after them? It's going to be a dogfight, isn't it?
yeah.
It's
Maybe
going
it
to be a
does
dogfight,
seem maybe like Crowell, you might give them a slight advantage now to go and finish second.
Yeah. Well, I won't write off Cappy yet. You know,
Yeah, like
I won't
it's
write off Cappy yet. Now, um, 2 years ago they were in a county final.
yeah,
And I think what they have to do is treat this game as their county final now. And just go after it, and don't worry about any other result in the group. They just have to look after their own patch. Get the boys back, get Ja back. Hopefully Claff and Garvey will be back from injury. I don't know what their injuries outcome is, but they have to get them back and just go for this game as if it's the county final of 2 years ago. Throw everything at it.
Looking then at Group 3, St. Thomas's 615, Castlegare 125. Just even, I was in Ballinasloe as I mentioned, but I watched back this and to give your full focus to this game, it was breathless really. Um, Thomas is winning out 615 to 125, looking in a good position to top the group, but still Sarsfields can overturn them and take top spot. Um, but
Yeah,
at the minute on form, you probably are putting Thomas's as the favourites to go and win the Tom O'Callaghan Cup. Just basically on form alone, when you consider no Shane Cooney, no David Burke, no Victor Manzo, and no Darren Farrell at the weekend, and to go and pull off a result like that, it's something else.
yeah, but we're 10 years looking at this St. Thomas's team now, and they just seem to surprise us every year, don't they? Seven in a row or whatever, eight in a row, seven in a row, and they seem to pull a couple of guys out of the hat every couple of years, and like to play Castlegar, who are going fairly well now, and I believe from hearing what I was hearing from different places, their pre-season was good, everything was good, and like to have 6-15 scored against you, and as you said, they're what, missing four. They're probably number one players. Like, wow, yeah, they have to be admired. You know,
Particularly to go and hit the net 6 times, it's something else, isn't it?
yeah, I would like to be the Castlegar backroom team this week, and they're trying to sort out that one or explain that one at training. Because there'll be some training done this week on that, or some analysis done on it anyway. How did it happen? You know, games now are so well analysed, and everyone is picked out. Yeah, I know the Castle lads now. They'll be probably disappointed with that.
Particularly,
Because
particularly when probably seen who Thomases were without at the weekend, it probably felt like a real opportunity to go and it actually, if they got something from it, it could have secured their qualification. But
yeah,
before
because
even heading into the More Mary game, now you're sort of flipping the script. They only have a point from 2 games, and if More Mary turned them over, they're heading into relegation. So probably disappointing, particularly the manner I think of some of the goals. They will be disappointed with the way they conceded them.
yeah, the manner and the goals, and I suppose Cashel have changed up the whole backroom team this year, and have gone for a broke, and like they're down to a one off game now with Warden Moore in the last game. Warden Moore have no points in that group, so they're going to be fighting like dogs too. Like they were in the top five of everyone's predictions this year to be there for the Tom Cannon Cup, Um, and now they're on 0 points with one game to go, but still can make the preliminary quarterfinals. So that's another dogfight, isn't it?
Yeah, looking at Thomas's spread of scores at the weekend, Mark Caulfield with a point, Fintan Burke with a point, Dara Burke with 2-1, Aina Burke with 1-3, Dave McGlynn with 1-1, Oisin Flannery with a point, Conor Cooney with 1-6, Evan Brady with 1-1. Amazingly, Ger Kelly getting sent off. I think we've seen probably nearly David Burke play in a lot of positions for Thomas's, but I don't think any of us expected to see David Burke playing goals at the weekend.
No, but I'd say if you asked David Burke to referee the game, he'd referee the game. Like David Burke has just been wow, what a servant to Galway and Thomas's hurling. And I'm sure when the manager turned around and said, "Right, you're going in goals," he didn't say why or what are you doing this for? He just took off the top and went into goals and done it for St Thomas's. Like he's been doing for the last number of years, and it just shows where Thomas's are. Like they don't care. They want to win, and they don't care where you play or where you play me. I want to win the game, and that's it. And it's for the club. And you have to admire Davy Burke for doing that, and managers for calling it.
Yeah, it was 212 to 112 at the break. Thomas's were 210 to 9 up. Um, so they were in a good position at the break. Then Craig Thomas gets sent off, which is a blow. Their fourth goal, then Conor Cooney and Dara Burke involved in the build-up, setting up Aina. And then Dara Burke getting their fifth goal, which nudged them 5-14 to 123 ahead. But Castle did reduce the deficit through Ger Farrer and Jack Coyne. It still sort of looked like they could get something. But Conor Cooney then, I suppose, ended the hopes of a Castle comeback there
Yeah,
later on. It's just a word on Castle and Ger Farrer at the weekend 116. 13 frees, a goal from a penalty and a 65.
yeah,
I think you're at the stage now where you're virtually just running out of words to describe what Ger Farrer is doing.
yeah. Like he's, if there was such a thing as professionalism in the GA, wouldn't himself and David Burke probably be your two main men in the professional end of things? Like the servants that Ger Farrer, Greg Lally for Gart, you know, these guys are just, Conor Cooney there. I know his years in him, but since he has had a savage year, these guys, they don't know how to give up. They do not know how to give up. Um, like you said, Greg Lally playing a sweeper there earlier on for Gart. Like again, you could ask Greg Lally to play anywhere for Gart and he played, and I'm sure it's the same way with a lot of these guys. And Ger Farrer, like he won an over 40s there or the Masters this year there. And I was down at that two of them games. Like he was just different class when he was on the ball, different class.
Looking at Sarsfields, I suppose, after drawing with Castle, they're now in a good position, getting over the line at the weekend against Ormore Murray, 219 to 118. Give Sarsfields a real chance if they overturn Thomas's in the final game of going top of the group. Brian Hanley will obviously be delighted to get his first win with Sarsfields uh, at the weekend. It's a huge result in the grand scheme of things and really puts them now back in the mix of going after topping this group, and they'll feel no reason why they can't go on top of the group and get straight into a quarter final.
Oh, that they'll go after Noam Bryan and the lads in Sarces. They'll go after St. Thomas's in 2 weeks' time, or 10 days' time, or whatever it is. They'll have no fear of Thomas's. They have no fear of anyone. I think Bryan will have that well installed into them, But like again, 219 is a big score for Sarces. Great score again in the championship. But they won't be happy with that. They'll want more. They'll want more, and they have a lot of the lads back now. They have a lot of the lads back, and they're really going at it. As I said, Brian will have all that well rehearsed and well tuned into them. Um, that's another good game now in 10 days' time. That's another dinger. And Saracens are going the right way again. They have all the lads back, and another club that has to be admired. I think they have a senior team, Reeves Cup team, Junior A team. They have 4 or 5 senior teams in, adult teams in the competitions. They're really firing, And Brian there at the head of it now on the senior team. He'll bring something special to them again that they wanted.
Yeah, Joseph Cooney really giving a performance of the ages. No surprises there at all. At the weekend, chipping in with a point. Niall Quinn with a point. Paddy McCarthy who's back in the half-back line this year, 4 points. John Cooney and Alex Kinnear with a point each. Ian Fox with a point. Gerard McCarthy with 4 points. Kevin Cooney with a point. And Aina Cooney as well with 1-5. 4 points coming um, there, there from frees. But they obviously moved 215 to 113 ahead coming down the stretch. Or more will probably be frustrated in one sense with their shooting efficiency in this one. But as we did mention there with Sarsfields, there's real qualities here, and they're probably going maybe under the radar in one sense as contenders.
Yeah, but anyone that takes Cersei's going under the radar, you want your head examined because these guys are a proud club. Great guys. Like when you have Joseph Cooney again, no more than Jason Flynn when he gave up from Galway there, he's just driving this on again. He's a serious guy. I'd know Joe for a few years personally, and there's no messing with Joe. He just loves Cersei's. He'd do anything for it. Um, like they really have, and then you have your county captain like Morrissey there.
Yeah.
What other man would you like leading you into battle except for him? He's another great guy. When the chips are down, he'll stand up for Sarces. He will stand up for Sarces, and just once he says injury free and stay driving them on. Like they can go anywhere this year. They can.
And as well, just as we were saying, Thomas's depth probably was something really impressive against Cashel, but Sarsfield see a couple of these Thomas's injuries that they have at the minute, they'll have to be rubbing their hands together.
Oh yeah, they'll go at them. And then Brian and his backroom team will have a big plan ready for them, and they'll have the holes picked out. If you can find holes in Thomas's, they'll find them. That's not an easy job either, no, because Thomas's won't want to let go of that top spot either. Too handy now, so yeah, it's going to be two shootouts. Again,
Yeah,
like it's great. It's great.
sets it up really nicely there. And looking at the more scores, Garage McInerney with a point, Connor Butler with a point, Anthony Keeley with three, Niall Burke 9.6 frees, Ruben David a goal, Ryan O'Donnell a point, and Jeremy Hannafy with 3 points. Ryan O'Donnell having a disallowed goal as well, second half. Unfortunate there for Ormer Murray, but no point saying otherwise. It just seems like Ormer Murray are really missing Rory Burke at the minute.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, Rory works like wasn't he a loss for Galway, not a minor more.
Yeah.
We seen how much he was for us as a county. Um, yeah, but they have to put that behind them again. They have a panel as well now, and they were under 20 champions last year, and they're going to have to put that behind them for one game now against Cashel, their neighbours, and there won't be any love lost there. Um, like yeah, that has so they're talking about putting different things behind the team and getting ready for focus. Like this is their county final now next week or the week after. If not, they're going to find themselves in relegation. Simple as.
It just
You know,
really does show for Ormore Mary if they can really go after getting things right for one game, this could be a turning point in the season too for them.
that's right, yeah, that's right. You'd be surprised. Like there's teams there now that are not going well, including Loughrea and Northernmore, and like even if results go for Cappy, they can be in a preliminary quarter final. You don't know how things will turn there either. Like so, there's lots of twists and turns in 10 days time now or 12 days time. There's lots that's going to happen, and there's going to be some club very very upset at the end of it.
Looking at Group 4 then, before we briefly look at the Premier Intermediate Championship, Turlockmore 39 points, Clymer Daly 320. Umbers Lamb is obviously looking for a response after they lost that to Athenry. Hitting a 39-point mark anyway, he'll come away happy enough from that one.
Wow, 39 points, and I was talking to a couple of guys over at it, and they reckon the Climber Daily left points behind them and a couple of goal chances as well. So, like, um, 39 points. Wow, what can you say about that? Like, that's impressive. I wasn't at the game, but as I said, I was talking to a couple of guys who was at the game, and they said that it was very open hurling. It was puck out to score, and that was from both sides. There was I don't think there was any really bad belt or looking at this, it must have been very open hurling, like. I don't know.
Absolutely. Just leaving looking, Turlock scores Jamie Holland with a point, Tom Quirk with three, Dara Whelan with a point, Connor Walsh with six, five free, Sean O'Hanlon 4 points, Matthew Terpy 6 points, Sean Loftus 8 points, Barry Callanan four, and Sean Lenan 6 points. But they're back on track now, really, aren't they? After that
Yeah, they're
opening
back
round
in.
defeat.
Yeah, they're back in track. They're second Tattenry again. Have our Drahan in the last game.
Yeah,
Um,
that's for second now.
that's
They're
for
both
second.
obviously
Yeah,
second and
Athenry are
third.
guaranteed top, I think, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's for second. But would you like to get Loughrea or the likes of Turlock more or Sarces or Thomas's as your second team coming through? No. Um, you see them scoring 39 points. It's a big score, like, and even that day against Athenry, like even though they didn't win the game and Athenry pulled off what was it, 3 or 4 points, like Turlock aren't gone anywhere at all. They're not gone anywhere, and they have a new management team, new setup. They have lads playing in different positions. You know, and like that, when the county guys came back, they seem to push on again.
Yeah,
So
even Clymer Daly too, like having Brian Kincannon out injured is a massive loss for them. Ian Ryan's actually ended up in goals for them this year in the opening two games of the championship. Jack Fitzpatrick and David Kincannon chipping in with a point each, along with Paul Craven finishing with a point as well there. Darren Daly with 1-8, Ronan Cahalane with a goal, Brian Burke with 1-6, 1-4, coming from frees from him there at the weekend. But like looking at it from Clymer Daly, like it's been huge, obviously getting Rowan Cahalane through and Michael Lewis
Yeah,
there as well. Like there are younger players coming through now for Clymer Daly. Shane Monaghan as well getting a point for Clymer Daly at the weekend, and Luke Linsky finishing with 2 points there for them. But I know they'll be disappointed losing the first two games, but maybe a difference to last year now to this year is last year maybe they were getting heavy defeats in their group games, but they've been really competitive in these two games. 320 still a fair score. Obviously conceding to 39, they'll be disappointed, but I suppose they'll really look to probably maybe give Athenry a rattle in the final game and maybe get a win on the board before entering into the relegation semis.
yeah, but like 320 and missing Concannon, like you're probably your one of your star forwards, or like is a serious score. But look at knowing Clymer Daly and knowing the characters that's down there, like look at they're going to die to the finish. Like they're not going to go anywhere. Like and even the last match against Athenry, they won't lie down and take it. You know, um, it's just probably Brian Concannon was an awful loss, and you know he's a loss. He'd be a loss to a lot of clubs. You know if he was with them, but Brian Concannon's a loss to any rural club, and you're going back there. They're trying to blood a couple of the young guys, and like it's not easy as I know it myself in Skibelio. Like you're trying to blood them and you're trying to mind them as well. So I presume the Climate Daily lads, you know, they're trying to mind these guys, Caroline and them, like and just blood them into senior hurling as much as they can, even though they need them now, you know. But yeah, to look at scoring 320 and still ended up losing. Like you go through all the rest of the scores and all the rest of the groups, there isn't many other teams that scored 320 and you know even won.
Just looking at the other game, Athenry were in control for so much of this game. On 43 minutes after Keane Burke got the goal, they were 120 to 110 ahead. Ardrahan rallied like something else even after losing Keenan Fahy to the red card, but Athenry, like they weren't the favourites to top this group. Turlockmore where they went now, they've wrapped up qualification with a game to go, and it probably shows the incremental improvements they're making under Niall Sunderland and this management team. Last year preliminary quarter final, now they've gone a step further into quarter final, and they, they'll they'll be thinking now why can't they go and reach a county semi final?
Yeah, Niall has done a serious job with them in the last couple of years because I think it was 4 years ago they were senior B,
Yeah,
and they came up. They were in a preliminary quarter final, as you said last year.
they
Yeah,
didn't they beat you with Clymer in
the
a
best one, yeah,
relegation
the best when I was with Clymer, yeah, yeah, and
relegation
the best as
final,
well.
yeah.
That's right, yeah, and like that year, you could tell they weren't happy to be in that position. You know, they weren't happy to be in that position that year, and they changed things around and they brought back some of the old guys that they now they have driven on. And as I said earlier on, they're trusting these young guys now. They're trusting their 21-year-olds, their 22-year-olds, 23-year-olds to drive the club forward. Like, and they're lucky to be in a position that they have these guys. But these guys have no fear. You know, like we've seen Jason Rabbit taking on the best of the backs in Ireland this year, and he had no fear. So he's not going to have any fear in Galway. You know,
Absolutely. They're in some position now though, aren't they?
savage, savage. And as you said, I wouldn't have topped them to or tipped them to get out as top of the group, but you would have tipped them to get out of the group. But now, look at they're in a quarter final, and like everything else, you wouldn't like to be getting them now down in Athenry or Ballinasloe or Pearse Stadium in a quarter final, like because these guys have no fear, none whatsoever. You know.
Yeah, similar to the Larkins, they'd be happy to back up that opening round win, particularly
Oh
after
yeah,
beating Turlock to go and beat Ardrahan. And even when all the momentum was with Ardrahan, you could sense they were relieved to just hang on um, and get that win. Owen Lawless getting a point, Aidan McDonough getting two, Killian Lawless from midfield getting three, his midfield partner Ronan Hardyman getting a point, Jack Carr with a point, Shea Brady with a point, Conor Lawless with a point, Keane Burke with 175 from frees, and Jason Rabbit with 4 points. They'll have to be happy enough too, because losing Keane Hannon to the cruciate injury was a massive blow for them too.
Yeah, did he score 1-2 or something in the first game or something like that?
Yeah,
But like also for Ardrahan now, like they played 20 minutes of the second half with 14 men, I think,
yeah,
and
23 minutes, and even with the
23 minutes,
injury,
yeah, with
I'd say it was
14
nearly
men,
25 minutes to be
you
honest.
know, and like to be losing Fahy, he's a huge leader in the field, like, and I don't know the circumstances of the sending off or anything. I wasn't there. I didn't see the game, so I can't
Caught
comment on
him
that. But
high, caught him high with the hurls, so he's probably going to be up against
yeah,
it to play
yeah.
now, I'd imagine.
So he missed the next match. But like Ardrahan have made strides too now in the last couple of years. Like they've come up like um and again they'll fancy themselves now against Turlock. That'll be a fair battle now. And
Yeah,
isn't it? It's some setup now for a preliminary quarter final. Like
Joe
you know.
Leary will have to be pleased though with the way they battled back, like 10 down, a man down. Like last 15, that could have got very ugly, but they went from being 10 down to have it to two back in the game right in a melting pot. And Derek Fahy even had a chance from a 20-meter free and it was blocked on the line, and Athenry just hung on. But that the way they battled, they'll have to take it off from that.
Yeah, but Joe's a great guy. He's an Ardrahan man through and through. Like no more than the boys that went back into Gart or these guys. When you go back and take over your own club and you see like Ardrahan were hurt last year. Now they expected more last year, not to be in the relegation. And they went back to the old brigade. They circled the wagons. Again, and another club that are after doing serious work on their grounds and serious work at underage. So yeah, themselves and Turlock will be a fair battle now because they'll want a good result against that.
Yeah, absolutely. In fairness there, and just looking at our grand scores, Derek Fahy 3 points, three frees. Owen Murphy with a point, Conor Cosgrove and Ben O'Connor with a point each. Donald Fahy with 5 points from five from frees. Enda Gardner with 2 points. Brian Callanan with 4 points, three frees. Sean Gardner grabbing the goal. Jason Kennedy making his return from injury there with a point as well. But just before we move on to Premier Intermediate briefly, Desi, it's set up nicely now, isn't it? Heading into round three of the groups.
Oh, there's some great matches. There's some great matches, and some clubs will be using it as preparation for a quarter final. Some will be using it as preparation for a preliminary. But my God, like Ardmore, Castlegar, Cappy, and Crowell, you know, like they're going to be two serious games. And it's do or die stuff now. I know that Cappy group can go a lot of different ways, but at the end of the day, Cappy have to win this game now. And as I said, they're going to have to use this as their county final. Or more Cashel, two local teams again. Or more, is there kicking them? I think there is. But you're playing Cashel, who are proud, and but it's going to be some weekend of hurling in 2 weeks' time now. Some weekend.
Just on the Premier Intermediate, your own game. Kilkenny led 8-4. They But I suppose he went in ahead then with the goal for Killian Roach's first goal. They didn't go away at all then, but how would you feel when Killian Roach got that winner?
Sure, look at, we all know what Killian can produce. Like he's only 18 years of age, played his county minor last year. He's a lot of learning to do yet, like no more than a lot of the young guys on any panel or team. You're trying to mind them. We're trying to bring them through, and we're trying to bring Luke Tully through as well. These two guys, like Luke only did his leaving cert last year. Killian is only doing his leaving cert this year coming. Like they have to be minded, they're only young guys. You know, like in any club, I suppose it's great to see the young guys coming on and doing a bit, but sometimes you just have to put them away for a week or two, or take them out of a situation. But Luke and Killian are two great guys, yeah, and it's great to have them this year on the panel.
Moylough, you could see how much it meant to them getting a result because obviously it's been quite a while since they actually got a victory in Championship hurling. Connor Dolphin really standing out there with 2-9. You could tell the sense of relief even if anyone listens to our interviews with Jerry Spellman and Ronan Glennon from the weekend. Moylough winning 421 to Bez 21 points. Obviously, Skehana Mountbellew Moylough straight through to the quarters. Moylough Kilkenire now is going to be some ding dong battle to see who gets second and who gets third, and Beha into
Yeah.
relegation.
Yeah, it's Mulla. What can I say? Like Mulla and Kilkenarden, they're like two serious teams now facing off. I wouldn't like to call that one like Mulla coming right now at the right time. Okay, they had a bad day at the office against us. That could have gone either way, but this Premier Intermediate, what people would want to realise is that there's no standout team on any day. Like this is going to be a dogfight down to the county final. I said this last year on your podcast. I said it on Galway Bay FM. This is going to be a dogfight. I like Aircourt, probably the most unluckiest team in Galway last year to win an intermediate title and not go to senior. I tipped them along the way last year to go a long way. And I did say on record that last year ourselves and Mealy Aircourt was probably the best game in the championship. So all these teams and down to Mulla Kilkenarden the next day, it'll be a puck of a ball between them. That's all it'll be. Because both teams will want to be second.
Just even looking at it, in Group 2 there was so much drama. Portumna 225, Ascafona 29 points. Um, and Finn Gahary getting a goal on 62 minutes to seal it. And Meath Aircourt beat Kinvara for the second year round 220 to 122. It was obviously a repeat of the intermediate final from last year there, but Aircourt making it 2 from 2 and Portumna getting over Ascafona. The Portumna Kinvara game now becomes crucial, but Group 2 as well here really up in the air at the minute as well.
Yeah, sure. I think Aircourt are the only team guaranteed.
Yeah.
The rest of them, but Kinvara and Mealy Aircourt. Kinvara must be sick of the Mealy Aircourt now after 2 years in a row. They've turned them twice, Like the last day, Portumna Kinvara. Wow. I wouldn't write off Kinvara in this one. I wouldn't. I think there's a game in them. But I was actually at the Portumna Hasker game the other day.
Yeah.
And I was fair impressed now with Portumna's setup. Fair impressed with them now. They have younger guys coming in here now, mixed in with a few of I won't say the older generation. It's very unfair to say that, but the older stalwarts, and they died with their shirts in the back, so they did against the Hasker now. They did. They really fought when they had to fight. They fought.
Just looking then at Group 3, Ballindereen beating Port Pierce's 120 to 17. That puts Ballindereen through. And Ballygar, I suppose, one of the teams who are in Division 1 left it very late against Rahu Newcastle there. So they're still alive. Jeremy O'Brien getting a point virtually in the last play of the game there for Ballygar. So it's it's up in the air as well, I suppose, in Group 3 for second and third spot still, but Ballindereen through to the last eight as well.
Ballindereen are through now, but the other three then are battling. They can all qualify. Like you have were Pierce's or Ballygar winning the last day by a good margin, and then they
No,
lost it. No,
Rahun were
Rahul were
winning.
winning. Rahul
Yeah,
were
yeah.
winning, and Pierce's or Ballygar came back at them there were 6 or 7 points down. You said, and they came back at them so. I'm surprised to see Ballygar in the position they're in because they had such a good campaign last year. Very unlucky against Aircourt and Ballinasloe, and they played Division 1 hurling this year
Yeah.
in the league, which must have stood to them, but they must have injuries or something because, I'm surprised to see them in the position they're in, but would I like to get them in the quarter final? No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. Because they're a fair outfit now and they're well coached and look at one win the next day, and it's all open again. Like it's open season, you know. Um,
Yeah, I suppose Ballygar are probably going to need to go and get something now against Ballindereen, who are already qualified, and for
already
Rahu
qualified. Yeah,
Newcastle. Rahu
yeah,
Newcastle and Pierce is like the winner of that. It's in a great position there. So,
yeah,
you
yeah.
could have even, well, you mightn't have a mini league uh there, but it will be tight.
They will, yeah,
In
they
that
will, yeah.
just
That's
on
a tight group.
yeah. Group four as well, Teen Abbott and Irie, 26 points, Climber 117, Kilnadeem and Leitrim getting over Carmore in 214 to 18. It's funny then in Group four how it's formed straight shootout between Teen Abbott and Irie and Kilnadeem and Leitrim for top spot. And
Yeah.
Carmore Climber could arguably be one of the biggest ties in the last round because whoever wins goes into prelim and whoever loses is into a relegation semi.
Yeah, Tina Aberdeenry and Leitrim, no, Kennedy and Leitrim, that won't be easy, will it? These guys, neighbours, everything. Top spot in the group to the winner. Um, yeah, I think Leitrim were missing Brian Malloy the last day, who was an awful loss to any team. I don't know, is he back for the next day? So we'll see how that goes. Tina seemed to be flying it.
Mm.
Matt, he'll always have them ding dong there, but that'll be some battle now on the last day. But unfortunately for Clymer, themselves and Cardmore now have to battle it out. But I heard the last day that even though Clymer lost to Tina, 15 minutes ago there wasn't a puck of a ball in it, and Clymer hurled, what I've been told, hurled as good as they've hurled in the last 2 years, but just came out the wrong side of a result. So they have to produce it now on the last day against Cardmore. They have to. Their backs up to the wall, and if the winner goes to a preliminary quarter final, you don't know. Maybe that's the start both clubs want.
Just finally then Desi on the Premier Juniors. Ceylon 134, Micheál Brannach's 110. Ballinasloe getting a result against Abbey 415 to 25 points the weekend. Obviously give Ballinasloe a huge lift to beat a team who's been an intermediate, particularly when they've been knocking at the junior grade over the last
Yeah.
number of years. But some score for Ceylon to rack up to at the weekend.
Yeah, but we were talking before this today, and to be fair to Ceylon, they're probably a shade above a lot of the teams in this junior A, because they were in a group last year of ourselves and Airport, and only two of us were going to stay in the Premier Intermediate. They got to a quarter final, I think, of the preliminary quarter final or quarter final of the Intermediate Championship last year, and unlucky to lose it. So look at, I think it's theirs to win if they want to. I think they will, because they want to be up in the Premier Intermediate level. Ballinasloe got 2 goals in injury time, I think, Paul, to bring them to get their victory. So they're flying it. So yeah, it's great to see them.
Wins two in the other group banded down, beating Bernard and Firbica 217 to 115, and Spittle beating Salthill Knocknacara 318 to 15. Kilbegantry with the bye in Group 2, or Group 1, or Group 2, Kilbegantry with the bye, and Kiltormer then with the bye in Group 1. But it's still fairly open in Group 2. Down and Kilbegantry and Spittle all level on 3 points at the minute.
Yeah, so again, no more than the Premier Intermediate. That competition is tight now. There's teams that want to be up in that Premier Intermediate now, and I suppose the big push for them now is only starting. They have to make a push now from the quarterfinals on. But yeah, wouldn't it be great the likes of Kilbegany there with a serious facility, as you said earlier, and they won't be far away. They'll be knocking on the door. There'll be teams there. Um, I still think, if you were to ask me out loud, I think Ceylon will be the team.
And who
I
will win
do.
senior?
Who will win senior?
Yeah.
I'm going to say Loughrea.
You think they'll do the trainer up?
I think when their backs up to the wall, yeah, I do. Yeah, their backs up to the wall now. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's speaking from the heart as well. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm. Mm.
Great stuff. Huge amount of action there as always to get through. But Desi, thanks a million for your time and very
You're
best of
more than
luck in the
welcome,
rest of
Paul.
the
Thanks for
championship.
yourself.